I should have known Karen Reynolds wouldn't stop until she completely controlled the neighborhood. For months, she had been waging a quiet war against my house. At every HOA meeting, she would sneer in my direction and say, "We really should consider modernizing certain properties to better reflect community standards." Translation? She hated my house. And I knew exactly why. My home was a 120-year-old Victorian, one of the oldest standing properties in the area. It had ornate wooden trim, hand-carved by the original owner. Gorgeous stained glass windows that caught the sunlight just right. A sprawling front porch that had survived more storms than Karen had bad ideas. It was beautiful. But to Karen, it was an eyesore. And she had just made her biggest mistake yet. Because this time, she had gone too far. It started with a letter. A bold, red-stamped HOA notice taped to my door. I pulled it off, skimmed through the bureaucratic nonsense, and then I saw it. Your property has been flagged for noncompliance with neighborhood aesthetic standards. Failure to remedy structural inconsistencies may result in removal of the property. I had to reread it 3 times. Karen wasn't just complaining about my house. She was trying to demolish it. I stormed down the street to Karen's house. She was in her perfectly landscaped front yard, directing some poor landscaper about the proper hedge symmetry. When she saw me, she smiled. Like she was expecting me. "Oh," she said, faking surprise. "Did you get the notice? Are you out of your mind?" I snapped. "You're trying to bulldoze my house?" Karen sighed, crossing her arms. "It's not personal," she said in that fake sweet voice. I actually laughed. "Oh, so you're just out here demolishing homes for fun?" Karen smirked. "It's called progress. Your house is too outdated. It lowers property values. The HOA board has already agreed. It's time for a change." My blood boiled. "You do realize my house is a protected landmark, right?" Her smirk wavered. "What?" I folded my arms. "That's right. Registered with the city. That means your little demolition order." I ripped the notice in half and let the pieces fall to the ground. Completely illegal. For the first time ever, Karen looked nervous. And she should have been. Because I was just getting started. I thought the fight was over. But then, I woke up to the sound of heavy machinery. I ran to my window and I almost fainted. A bulldozer was parked in front of my house. And Karen was standing beside it, clipboard in hand. I flew out my front door, rage burning through my veins. "What the hell is this?" I shouted. Karen barely looked up. "Oh," she said, "bored, just getting things ready." "For what?" She smiled. "For the removal." I was seconds away from losing my mind. "This is illegal, Karen." She rolled her eyes. "The HOA approved it." I took a deep breath. Then I smiled. "That's cute. But let's see what the city has to say." And with that, I pulled out my phone and called the Historical Society. Within 30 minutes, 2 cars pulled up. One from the local Historical Preservation Office. One from the city attorney's office. Karen froze. The head of Historical Preservation, Mr. Harris, stepped out first. He looked at the bulldozer, then at Karen, then at me. "What's going on here?" he asked. I gestured at the massive demolition vehicle. "Oh, just a criminal attempt to destroy a protected landmark." Mr. Harris's eyes darkened. He turned to Karen. "Is this true?" Karen puffed up her chest. "This house is ugly and outdated," she snapped. "It doesn't fit the community standards." Mr. Harris sighed. "Ma'am," he said, pulling out a legal document, "this home is protected by law. You cannot demolish it. You cannot alter it. And you sure as hell can't pull a stunt like this." Karen's face went pale. But the HOA." The city attorney cut her off. "The HOA," he said, his voice sharp, "has no authority over landmark properties. What you're doing is reckless endangerment of a registered landmark. That is a felony offense." Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish. She had lost. Badly. By the end of the day, Karen was facing a $50,000 fine for illegal demolition attempts, city-mandated community service for violating historical protection laws, a formal removal from the HOA board, and the best part? The city was suing her personally for damages. Karen had officially destroyed herself. The next HOA meeting was brutal. Karen tried to defend herself. I was trying to help this neighborhood, but the entire board turned against her. Even Mr. Lawson, her right-hand crony, said, "Karen, you went too far. We're done." And with that, Karen was kicked out of the HOA. For good. Weeks later, Karen put her house up for sale. She was done. Finished. Gone. And me? I sat on my beautiful, historic front porch, sipping coffee, watching as the moving truck pulled away. I waved. "Karen?" She glared at me one last time. Then, she was gone. For real this time. And I finally got to enjoy my damn house. For a while, life in my Karen-free neighborhood was pure bliss. No HOA harassment. No surprise demolitions. No bulldozers parked in front of my house. Karen was gone, her house sold to a lovely retired couple who actually appreciated historic homes. I thought that was the end of it. But then, I got a call from Melissa. "Melissa, you're not gonna believe this." Me, if it's about Karen, I don't want to know. Melissa, she's trying to run a historic town. Me, what? Apparently, Karen had relocated to Oak Hollow, a tiny town famous for its preserved 19th century buildings. It was the kind of place where streetlights were still gas-powered. Main Street looked straight out of the 1800s. Most of the homes were legally protected as historic landmarks. It was a tourist attraction. It was a piece of history. And now, it was Karen's new kingdom. Oak Hollow had a small historic preservation committee that handled upkeep, zoning, and events. Karen wormed her way in. Within 2 months, she had appointed herself chairwoman of the committee, started issuing historical violations to residents, tried to ban modern cars from being parked on Main Street. I spit out my drink when I read that last part. Melissa sent me screenshots from the town's Facebook group. Resident: "So Karen just fined me $200 because my porch furniture wasn't period accurate." Resident number 2, "She gave me a warning for using a microwave." Resident number 3, "Why is there a notice on my door saying my house has to be returned to 1890s conditions?" Karen was forcing people to live like it was the 1800s. Oh my God. At first, Karen thought she was winning. She loved throwing around historical jargon like she actually knew what she was talking about. "We must restore the town's original integrity. We must preserve tradition. We must remove all signs of modern decay." Translation? She wanted to control everything. But Oak Hollow was not having it. The town loved its historic buildings, but they also loved Wi-Fi and air conditioning. The residents enjoyed their old-timey homes, but they weren't about to give up cars, microwaves, or electricity. And the business owners? They were furious when Karen tried to ban credit card machines. Melissa sent me another screenshot. Restaurant owner: "Karen just told me I have to switch to a handwritten receipt system because electronic transactions ruin the historical atmosphere." Resident: "Are we supposed to pay with gold coins now?" The town was on the verge of revolt. And I was loving every second of it. Then, Karen made her biggest mistake. She tried to declare her own house as a historical landmark. For context, Karen's house was built in 2004. It was a boring suburban-style McMansion. It looked completely out of place in Oak Hollow. Yet somehow, she convinced the Preservation Committee to review her application. "My home represents a modern interpretation of historical architecture," she claimed. The committee laughed her out of the room. And when they denied her request, she lost it. When Karen doesn't get her way, she destroys things. And sure enough, she hired a construction crew to bulldoze an actual historic building. Melissa sent me a frantic text. "Melissa, oh my God, she's doing it again." Me, doing what again? Melissa, she's trying to bulldoze a historic INN. Karen had decided that the oldest building in town was too damaged to save. So she called a demolition company and had them bring in a bulldozer. I was screaming. But just like before, Karen forgot one tiny little detail. The inn was legally protected by the state's historical society. and the mayor himself showed up to stop her. Melissa sent me a video. Mayor, Karen. What the hell are you doing? Karen, this building is a disgrace to history. Mayor, Karen, this is a protected landmark. Karen, I am trying to help this town. Mayor, by destroying it? And then? Oh, then came the best part. The police arrived. Karen tried to argue her way out of it. I was improving the community. This is a travesty of justice. I am a historical visionary. The cops? Didn't care. They handcuffed her right there. And as they put her in the squad car, the entire town burst into applause. It was beautiful. After Karen's second arrest for bulldozer-related crimes, she was banned from the historic committee, fined $75,000 for attempted landmark destruction, publicly humiliated, again, and within a month, she put her house up for sale. Melissa sent me one last text. Melissa, she's gone. Again. Me, are we sure? Melissa, 100%. Karen had officially lost. Again. And this time, there were no more neighborhoods left for her to terrorize. For the first time ever, I actually believed. Karen was gone. I leaned back on my historic porch, sipping my coffee, staring at my peaceful, beautiful, legally protected house. No bulldozers. No fake fines. No Karen. Just peace. Finally, I had truly, genuinely believed Karen was gone for good. She had been kicked out of multiple neighborhoods, banned from HOAs, and arrested, twice, for attempted bulldozing. Where else could she possibly go? Melissa called me one afternoon, barely able to breathe from laughter. Melissa, she did it again. Me, no. No way. Melissa, Karen, is a park ranger. Me, spits out coffee. I almost fell out of my chair. Karen was trying to run a national park. This was her most insane move yet. And I had to know how it ended. Apparently, Karen had somehow convinced a small state park to hire her. Her job was supposed to be basic visitor assistance, handing out maps, giving directions, making sure people didn't get eaten by bears. But Karen? She saw this as her new kingdom. Within weeks, she was trying to ban modern hiking gear. Your water bottles should be historically appropriate. Demanding campers only cook on stone fire pits, propane grills ruin the wilderness experience. Yelling at people for walking too fast on scenic trails. You're disturbing the natural balance. I was wheezing with laughter. Karen was trying to gentrify nature. And the rangers hated her. Karen, in classic Karen fashion, decided she needed more control. So one day, she redesigned all the hiking trail maps. But instead of accurately marking the paths, she removed all the unsightly trails. The result? Half the park disappeared from the maps. Hikers got lost because the trails weren't labeled. One group accidentally wandered into a bear den. A bear den. The rangers were furious. Head ranger, Karen, you can't just remove trails from the map. Karen, they weren't aesthetically pleasing. Head ranger, this isn't a HOA. This is a forest. And just like that, Karen was suspended. You think getting suspended would stop Karen. But no, she doubled down. She decided to improve park safety by outlawing all campfires. Yep, Karen banned firewood. In a campground. Melissa sent me another screenshot from a camping forum. Camper, some lady just fined me for roasting marshmallows. Camper number 2, she said my fire pit wasn't regulation approved. Camper number 3, who is Karen and why does she hate s'mores? Karen had gone full dictator mode. She even set up a fire patrol to go campsite to campsite confiscating wood. At one point, she got into a screaming match with an elderly couple because they were using a gas lantern. And then, she tried to ban flashlights. The moon should be your natural light source. I was cry-laughing. Karen was trying to control the actual sun. And the park rangers had enough. After the bear den incident, the fake maps, and the flashlight ban, the park rangers held a meeting. And they were done. Head ranger, Karen, this is your last warning. Karen, I am protecting the integrity of this park. Head ranger, You're making people cry, Karen. But Karen wouldn't back down. She insisted she was the only one who truly cared about nature. Then she tried to take control of the visitor center. And that's when they called the parks department. The state parks director arrived the next morning. Karen greeted him with a clipboard and a list of new park rules. I have compiled a plan to enforce stricter visitor compliance. The director stared at her. Then he looked at the rangers. Then he looked at the list. And then he fired her on the spot. Karen went ballistic. Karen, I have dedicated my life to this park. Director, ma'am, you've been here 6 weeks. The moment she realized she was actually fired, she tried to chain herself to a tree. I swear to God. Melissa sent me the final update. Melissa, Karen got dragged away by security screaming about protecting the spirit of the land. I have no words. Melissa, it's over. Again. And just like that, Karen was gone. For real. No HOA. No neighborhoods. No campgrounds. She was banned from state parks entirely. And this time, there was truly nowhere left for her to go. A month later, I was sitting on my porch, enjoying the peace. No bulldozers. No fake violations. No Karen. Then my phone buzzed. It was Melissa. Melissa, you won't believe this. I refuse to believe anything. Melissa, Karen just got a job at an airport. Drops phone. Oh, my God. Just when I thought Karen had finally exhausted her reign of terror, Melissa dropped another bombshell. Melissa, Karen is working at an airport. No. Melissa, yes. How? Melissa, somehow, she got hired as a passenger experience liaison. What does that even mean? Melissa, it means she has just enough power to make people miserable. Oh, this was going to be good. Karen had managed to land a customer service job at a major airport. Her role was simple. Answer passenger questions. Assist with wayfinding. Ensure people had a smooth experience. But this was Karen. So instead, she turned into a self-appointed travel dictator. She started confiscating non-compliant carry-ons because they didn't fit her standards. She lectured passengers about proper airport behavior. She tried to enforce a dress code at security checkpoints. Melissa sent me a text from her cousin, who happened to be flying through that airport. Passenger, some random airport lady just told me my rolling suitcase was disrupting pedestrian flow and tried to make me check it. Passenger number 2, who TF is Karen and why is she telling people to remove shoes before TSA even asked? Passenger number 3, did she just tell me I need to speak in a hushed tone at the gate? I was howling. Karen was trying to regulate an entire airport. This was her biggest power trip yet. And it was about to backfire spectacularly. Karen's favorite new rule? Boarding passes must be held at chest level for maximum efficiency. I'm not even kidding. Melissa's cousin texted her. Some lady just yelled at me for holding my boarding pass at waist level. Karen had literally set up a checkpoint before TSA where she forced people to hold their tickets a certain way. And the best part? She had absolutely no authority to do this. Within days, airport security got involved. Security officer, ma'am, you do not have the authority to stop passengers. Karen, I am ensuring a seamless boarding experience. Security officer, ma'am, if you don't step away from the gate, you will be escorted out. Karen backed off. For now, Karen had lost the boarding pass battle. So she pivoted to something even dumber. She tried to ban rolling carry-ons. I wish I was making this up. Melissa texted me. Melissa, she just tried to confiscate a woman's suitcase because it rolled too loudly. I cannot handle this. Melissa, she actually wrote a report. A full incident report. About aggressive rolling. Airport staff ignored her, but Karen wasn't done. She set up a voluntary rolling suitcase checkpoint, where she evaluated carry-ons for excessive noise. No one participated. And when a flight crew rolled past her with their suitcases, she lost it. Karen, as airport staff, you should be setting a standard of quiet travel. Pilot, ma'am, I fly a 747 for a living. I don't think noise is the issue. The pilot and crew laughed in her face. Karen fumed. And that's when she made her final mistake. Karen had failed to control boarding pass procedures, rolling suitcases, gate etiquette. So she set her sights on the VIP lounge. Apparently, Karen didn't like that certain passengers got preferential treatment. Karen, the lounge is unfair to regular travelers. One morning, she marched into the lounge and started demanding they change their policies. And when the lounge ignored her, she took matters into her own hands. She blocked the entrance. Yep. She physically stood in the doorway and told passengers they couldn't enter unless they met her fairness criteria. Her criteria? You must have taken at least 3 commercial flights in the last month. You must be traveling for a serious reason. Vacation is not valid. You must carry your own bags without assistance. Within minutes, airport security was called. Security officer, ma'am, step away from the entrance. Karen, I am restoring fairness to air travel. Security officer, ma'am, you are restoring chaos. And then? She was fired. On the spot. Not only was she fired, but she was banned from the airport. Forever. Melissa sent me one final update. Melissa, they escorted her out. Me, no. Melissa, yes. Me, screaming with laughter. Melissa, she is banned from the entire airport. This was Karen's biggest loss yet. No HOA. No parks. No historic towns. And now? No airports. This was the final Karen collapse. Weeks later, Melissa and I sat on a video call, finally relaxing. No drama. No bulldozers. No Karen. Until Melissa's phone buzzed. She read the message. Her face froze. Me, no. No, no, no. Melissa, she's trying to start a passenger rights organization. Me, you're lying. Melissa, she made a website. Me, Karen is trying to unionize against airports? We both sat there in stunned silence. And then? We burst out laughing. Because at this point, it was just too ridiculous. Just when we thought Karen had finally reached the limits of her insanity, Melissa sent me yet another message. Melissa, Karen is back. Me, I refuse to believe this. Melissa, she started a website called Fair Cruise Travel. Me, oh my God, what is she doing now? Melissa, she's trying to reform cruise policies. I had to sit down. Karen had gone from terrorizing neighborhoods to airports. And now? She was trying to take over the cruise industry. Karen's new obsession? Restoring dignity and order to the seas. Her list of demands was insane. All cruise passengers must wear formal attire at all times. Loud laughter should be moderated to maintain a sophisticated atmosphere. Buffet portions must be regulated to prevent plate hoarding. Pool chairs should be assigned by a reservation system to prevent chair theft. I was screaming. Karen was trying to turn cruises into a dictatorship. And the best part? She had actually booked a cruise to enforce these policies herself. Oh, this was going to end badly. Karen boarded a luxury cruise with a mission. Melissa's cousin's friend's aunt, I swear, we had sources everywhere, happened to be on the same ship. And she live-texted the chaos. Passenger, some woman is patrolling the buffet line telling people they're taking too much food. Passenger number 2, she just took a plate from a man's hand and put back 2 chicken wings. Passenger number 3, who is this woman and why is she yelling about dress codes? Karen had turned into the self-appointed cruise police. And people were not having it. Karen's biggest complaint? The lawless chaos of pool deck seating. She hated that people put towels on chairs to claim them. So what did she do? She removed the towels from every single chair. The passengers revolted. Passenger, I left for 5 minutes and my stuff was gone. Passenger number 2, who moved my chair? Passenger number 3, some lady is yelling that the pool deck must be fair for all. Karen was single-handedly causing a riot. And then? The crew got involved. The crew's captain himself had to step in. Melissa's cousin's friend's aunt, Yes, the same one, sent us the final showdown. Captain, ma'am, what exactly are you doing? Karen, I am restoring order. Captain, by stealing passengers' seats? Karen, it's called fairness. Captain, rubs temples, ma'am, you are not the cruise director. Karen, I should be. And that's when the cruise security arrived. They escorted Karen away as she screamed about injustice. She was banned from the pool deck. And the entire ship cheered. Karen should have stopped there. But no. She was still determined to bring her reforms to the ship. So the next morning, she tried to break into the VIP lounge. Melissa sent me a final update. Melissa, Karen got locked in the VIP lounge storage room. Me? What? Melissa, she tried to redesign the lounge layout and someone shut the door behind her. Me, how long was she in there? Melissa, 2 hours. Karen was literally trapped. And by the time they let her out, she was escorted straight to the captain's office. And just like that, Karen was kicked off the cruise at the next port. Karen was officially banned from HOAs, historic towns, parks, airports, and now, cruise ships. Melissa sent me one final message. Melissa, she's done. There is nowhere left for her to go. Me, are you sure? Melissa, unless she somehow tries to take over a theme park, I think we've won. We sat there in silence, finally at peace. And then? Melissa's phone buzzed. She opened it. She stared at the screen. Then she looked at me. Her face was pale. Melissa, no. No, no, no. Me? What? Melissa, whispers, she just got a job at Disney. I screamed. Just when I thought Karen had finally run out of places to terrorize, Melissa dropped the biggest bombshell yet. Melissa, Karen got a job at Disney. Me, spits out drink. Melissa, she is a cast member. Me, what? Department. Melissa, guest services. Me, oh my god. I nearly passed out. Karen, at Disney, with a uniform and a name tag. The most magical place on earth was about to become her new dictatorship. Within days of being hired, Karen was already waging war on Disney's lax policies. Her new list of completely made-up rules included: no running to rides, Disney is a place of order. No Mickey ears unless they are historically appropriate. No eating in line, queue etiquette must be respected. Only serious guests should sit in the front row of attractions. Melissa's Disney employee cousin sent her a live update. Disney cast member, there is a new lady at guest services yelling at children for not standing in single-file formation at the castle. Guest number 1, she told me I was holding my park map incorrectly. Guest number 2, did she just confiscate a turkey leg? I screamed. Karen was trying to regulate Disney, and it was about to backfire spectacularly. Karen's biggest problem? She hated how informal the character meet and greets were. She thought Disney characters should have a strict interaction script. So one afternoon, she took matters into her own hands. She stepped into a princess meet and greet line and started directing guests on how to properly address Cinderella. Karen, please address her as Your Royal Highness and bow appropriately. Guest, I just wanted a selfie. Karen, gasps in horror, disrespect. The actual cast members had to step in. Disney manager, Karen, you do not tell guests how to interact with the characters. Karen, I am maintaining the integrity of the kingdom. Disney manager, Karen, this is Disney World. She was given a formal warning. But did she stop? Of course not. Karen's next great injustice? She hated the fast pass system. She claimed it was elitist and ruined fairness. So what did she do? She tried to hand out Karen-approved passes to guests she thought deserved priority. Her criteria? No casual tourists. No undisciplined families. Only guests who showed proper respect to Disney traditions. The problem? These were not real passes. And when guests tried to use them at rides, Disney employees were baffled. Melissa's cousin sent another text. Disney cast member, some lady is handing out homemade Karen fast passes and telling people they can skip the line. Disney security, we have to stop her. Karen was seconds away from disaster. The final straw? Karen tried to change the parade schedule. Melissa sent me a blurry phone recording. Security guard. Ma'am, step away from the parade route. Karen, this parade should start at 4 o'clock, not 4:30. Security guard, you do not control Disney operations. Karen, I am bringing order to chaos. At that moment, Mickey Mouse himself walked by. Karen actually tried to stop him. Karen, Mickey, I demand an audience. Mickey silently waves and keeps walking. Karen, screaming, you will respect me, Mouse. And that's when she was escorted out of the park. Karen was officially fired. Not just fired. Banned. From all Disney properties. Melissa sent me the final update. Melissa, she can never go to a Disney park again. Me, oh my god. Melissa, they put her name on a permanent NO entry list. Karen had finally done it. She had been banned from the happiest place on earth. There was nowhere left for her to go. Or so we thought. A month later, Melissa called me. She sounded shaken. Me, please don't tell me it's Karen. Melissa, it's worse. Me, whispers, what did she do? Melissa, she's trying to start her own town. I nearly dropped my phone. Me, what do you mean? Melissa, she bought land. In the middle of nowhere. She's trying to build a gated community. Me, she's creating her own HOA? Melissa, she's calling it Karen Village. I screamed. HOA Karen had gone fully rogue. She was creating her own town to rule from scratch. And this? This was going to be her final battle. Just when we thought Karen had nowhere left to go, she did the unthinkable. She bought land. In the middle of nowhere. And she was building her own town. Melissa sent me a screenshot from Karen's website. Welcome to Karen Village. A community of order, respect, and traditional values. NO, loud vehicles, unruly children, mismatched house colors, or unregulated lawns. Yes, structured neighborhood meetings, approved landscaping designs, and a commitment to high standards. I almost fell out of my chair. Karen was founding a dictatorship disguised as a neighborhood. And the craziest part? People were actually moving there. Karen had total control. She established HOA rules that were beyond insane. Curfews for residents. All lights must be off by 9:30 p.m. Mandatory weekly home inspections. To maintain neighborhood aesthetics. Pre-approved conversations. Disruptive discussions about modern culture are prohibited. Strict dress codes. No casual clothing outside your home. Melissa sent me a text from someone who visited the neighborhood. Visitor, it feels like a cult. Visitor number 2, there are signs everywhere that say, respect the rules. Visitor number 3, I sneezed, and someone asked if I had filed a noise exemption. Karen had built a dystopia. And people were already trying to leave. At first, Karen Village seemed like a success. But then, the residents started fighting back. One woman got fined for inappropriate lawn chair placement. A couple was threatened with eviction for parking their car in a non-aesthetic direction. Someone got a formal HOA warning for playing music with excessive enthusiasm. Then came the breaking point. Karen banned Christmas decorations. Karen, holiday lights create an unnecessary display of individualism. The entire town revolted. People decorated anyway. And what did Karen do? She hired a team to remove the decorations. In the middle of the night, Melissa sent me a photo. It was a group of residents standing on their lawns, holding baseball bats, guarding their Christmas displays. Karen had pushed too far. And Karen Village was about to collapse. The residents of Karen Village organized a secret meeting. And the agenda? Remove Karen. Melissa's source inside the village sent her a text. Resident, it's happening. We're recalling her from her own HOA. Resident number 2, we filed a motion to remove her from power. Resident number 3, we are taking our town back. Karen was about to lose her final empire. The HOA board meeting was brutal. Residents lined up to speak against Karen. Resident 1, I got fined for having a doormat that wasn't subdued in tone. Resident 2, I was told I had to reduce the liveliness of my laughter. Resident 3, my dog was reported for expressive barking. Karen was visibly shaking. Karen, you people don't appreciate structure. You want chaos. Resident, we want to decide what color our houses are. Then, the vote came in, and Karen was officially removed as HOA president. For the final time, Karen refused to accept defeat. So she declared war on her own town. She refused to leave. She called the police and claimed the HOA election was fraudulent. She threatened to sue every resident. But here's the thing. Karen Village was private property. And the residents? They kicked her out. Literally. Melissa sent me a video of Karen being escorted out by security, screaming about neighborhood integrity. And just like that, she was homeless. Her final empire had fallen. Melissa and I sat on a video call, stunned. Karen had lost everything. No HOA. No parks. No airports. No Disney. No cruise ships. No town. Melissa, she's finally gone. Me, are we sure? Melissa, she has nowhere left to go. For the first time ever, I believed it. Karen was truly defeated. She had been banned from neighborhoods, cities, businesses, and now, her own town. There was nothing left for her to control. And with that, I leaned back, sipped my coffee, and finally, enjoyed my peaceful, Karen-free life. For months, Karen had vanished. No news. No Facebook rants. No sudden takeovers of new neighborhoods. Silence. Melissa and I were convinced it was finally over. Until one night. Melissa called me, panicked. Melissa, you need to see this. Me, please tell me it's not Karen. Melissa, I don't know where she is. But she's trying to start a new government. I choked on my drink. Me, I'm sorry, what? Melissa, she's trying to create her own country. Oh, my God. Karen had officially lost it. She had launched a website claiming she was forming a sovereign nation. Welcome to Karentopia, a country of order and tradition. Core values. Strict laws, no disruptive behaviors allowed. Traditional dress codes, formal attire required in public. Respect for authority, her authority, obviously. A fair economy, regulated spending to avoid excessive consumerism. I was dying. Karen wasn't just trying to start a town. She was trying to start her own country. And the best part? She was looking for citizens. Karen posted an application form for potential residents of Karentopia. Melissa filled one out as a joke. And the requirements were insane. All applicants must adhere to Karenian values. No reckless individualism. A pledge to maintain visual harmony in dress, decor, and behavior. No pets that bark, meow, or make excessive noise. No children under the age of 12. She called them agents of chaos. Melissa immediately got rejected. Karen's email response. Unfortunately, you do not meet the high standards of Karentopia. We wish you well in your endeavors to live a more structured life. I was crying laughing. Who even approved Karen to run a country? Karen had nowhere to build her country. So what did she do? She found an abandoned piece of desert land and declared it her territory. She even emailed the U.S. government claiming sovereignty. Melissa found the public records. Karen's claim, I, Karen Reynolds, hereby establish Karentopia as an independent nation, free from the constraints of disorganized modern society. U.S. government response, no. I was dying. Karen was trying to secede from the country. And she had no idea how laws worked. Karen actually moved onto the land and set up a tiny trailer. For weeks, she posted delusional updates. Karen, day 12 in Karentopia. The air is fresh, the land is free. Soon, more citizens will join me in our utopia. Except, nobody joined. Not one person. Instead, people visited the land just to take selfies next to the Welcome to Karentopia sign. And Karen? Lost her mind. Karen, outsiders are invading. They do not respect our laws. She tried to find tourists for violating her fake country's rules. People ignored her. And then, the county police showed up. The police arrived at Karentopia with a simple message. Officer, ma'am, you are trespassing on government land. Karen, this is a sovereign nation. Officer, ma'am, no it's not. Karen, I have declared independence. Officer, ma'am, you're in Arizona. Karen refused to leave. So guess what? They arrested her for trespassing on her own fake country. Melissa and I were screaming with laughter. This was her ultimate downfall. Karen's dream of ruling the world had finally ended. In handcuffs, Karen was formally banned from every HOA in the country, state parks, airports, cruise ships, Disney World, owning a town, starting a country. There was nowhere left for her to go. And for the first time ever, I knew Karen was done. I sat on my porch, sipping coffee, looking out at my Karen-free world. Me, Melissa? Melissa, yeah, me, we won. Melissa, we really did. And with that, I finally enjoyed my peaceful, Karen-free life. For good. Just when I thought Karen was truly gone, Melissa sent me a text that made me drop my coffee. Melissa, you're gonna want to sit down for this. Me, oh no. Melissa, Karen, is running for Congress. I screamed. Karen had gone from ruining neighborhoods to starting her own fake country. And now, she was trying to take over the actual government. Melissa sent me a screenshot from Karen's campaign website. Karen Reynolds for Congress. Restoring order. Enforcing standards. Bringing structure back to America. Platform. Stricter neighborhood regulations, a national HOA. Banning excessive individuality. What does that even mean? Mandating dress codes in public spaces, oh my god. Establishing a committee for community compliance, aka the Karen Police. I was dying. Karen wasn't just running for Congress. She was trying to turn the entire country into a giant HOA. Somehow, Karen got enough signatures to qualify for the primary election. Melissa Liv texted me during her first political debate. Moderator, Ms. Reynolds, what policies do you plan to implement? Karen, first, we must address the widespread issue of unregulated lawn decor. Moderator, I'm sorry, what? Karen, there is a crisis of inconsistent mailbox aesthetics. I will introduce federal mailbox regulations. Moderator, blink blink. The crowd erupted in laughter. Karen's opponent, a seasoned politician, couldn't stop smirking. Opponent, Ms. Reynolds, you're suggesting that the U.S. government regulate mailboxes? Karen, yes. And front lawns. Order must be maintained. At this point, even the moderator was laughing. Karen was completely serious. And her campaign was about to crash and burn. Karen had one fatal weakness. She loved rules. But she also loved breaking them. And just days before the election, she made a massive mistake. A journalist dug into her past and found her multiple arrests for trespassing, her history of illegal demolitions, the attempted creation of Karentopia. The headline was brutal. Congressional candidate Karen Reynolds previously tried to start her own country, was arrested for trespassing. Karen lost her mind. She called it a smear campaign. She tried to sue the newspaper. And then? She tried to ban the internet from mentioning her past. Karen, I am calling for a national ban on fake news. Reporter, ma'am, these are court records. Karen, irrelevant. It was too late. Her campaign collapsed overnight. And on election day, she got less than 1% of the vote. Karen had lost. Again. Badly. Karen refused to accept defeat. The night after the election, she went on a live-streamed rant that lasted 4 hours. Melissa sent me a highlight reel. Karen, this election was rigged against me. Karen, the people do not deserve my leadership. Karen, America is doomed without strict mailbox regulations. The internet roasted her mercilessly. She became a full-on meme. Someone even remixed her speech into a dance track called Federal Mailbox Bop. Millions of people laughed. Karen? She disappeared from public life the next day. Forever. Months later, I sat on my peaceful porch, sipping coffee. No HOA nightmares. No bulldozers. No Karen. Melissa called me. Melissa, it's over. Me, are we finally free? Melissa, I think so. She's completely gone. And for the first time ever, I believed it. Karen had tried everything. And she had failed. For good. I leaned back in my chair, took a deep breath, and finally enjoyed my damn lawn. For years, Karen had been a relentless force of suburban tyranny. She had tried to bulldoze my house, started her own town, tried to create a sovereign nation, been banned from Disney, airports, cruise ships, and national parks, run for Congress, and failed spectacularly. But now, she was gone. No HOA meetings. No insane regulations. No Karen. For real this time. Melissa and I sat on my beautiful, peaceful porch, drinking coffee, basking in the Karen-free world we had fought for. Melissa, I still can't believe it's over. Me, she tried everything. And lost. Every time. Melissa, do you think she'll ever come back? Me, leans back, watching the sunset. Even Karen knows when she's beaten. And with that, I took a deep breath. And finally enjoyed my damn lawn.